All right. Five o'clock. Time to relax. Time to get up and dance.
Sounds right.
Pretend no one's watching you. Let's be honest. No one's watching you. And if they are, whatever. Give them a show.
Sounds right.
All right. All right. Hope you guys enjoy the jams. Every week we're going to be delivering something new. So make sure you guys tune in and stay tuned for it. All right. So welcome to episode 2 of Real Talk with Coach Q and
Broker Wes.
Broker Wes. Yes, 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 y'all. It's Broker Wes, y'all. Yes, yes, y'all. It's Broker Wes, y'all. All right. So hope you guys had a good week. And I want to start with leadership. That's what I'm about. I'm all about encouraging people and all that good stuff. And if this is the first time you guys watch the show, I'll give you a quick introduction. My name is Coach Q. I am a coach. I coach realtors. I coach leaders. I inspire people to help self-develop them and create better versions of themselves. I'm also a realtor, which I get to help people buy, sell, invest in real estate. And Broker Wes, tell the world what you do so well.
Hello, everybody. This is Wes Oliver, also known as Broker Wes, and I am a mortgage broker that helps people find the best financial solutions for them. And I also help coach people along in our industry as well.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right. So what I want to share with you guys is, as a coach, I'm always asked, like, how do I get more business and how do I become more successful? Like, what do I need to do? And it really makes me think of a quote by my mentor, John Maxwell. And he talks about you grow inside, and when you grow inside, it fuels your growth outside. Meaning that, if you want to be more successful, how are you taking care of yourself? What books are you reading? What audio books are you listening to? How are you staying healthy in terms of the food that you're eating, you're exercising, right? Or even thinking your mental thoughts, your mindset, right? Because in order for you to have success and have these things outward, you have to control what's going on in your insides first. Positive mindset, you know, reading, thinking, right? Eating healthy, getting sleep, getting enough sleep, really taking care of yourself. Because when you do that, your outside is going to be so much more, and that's when you're going to really reach your goals. So, just want to share that with you guys. And Wes, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I'm somebody who strongly believes that you are your habits. Let me say that again. You are your habits. And as you listen to someone like Tony Robbins, who says that success leaves clues, if you go look at anybody who is in your industry that is achieving success, the level of success that you would want to have, they're going to have particular habits and things like that they do. And the best thing you can do is try to model those behaviors, because it's like, you're not going to find someone. I remember I was watching a documentary way back when, Pumping Iron with Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? And if you're watching that, you're seeing all of the stuff he's doing to train. Okay, you can't say you want to build like him and you're having a Snickers bar and sitting on the couch every day. That's not going to work out, right?
Yeah, definitely not going to work out for sure.
Yeah, so you are your habits, and you're right. First thing you have to do, the best version of you as an individual will bring forth the best you as a professional. There it is.
Absolutely, I love that. Yes, absolutely. So Wes, what's hot topics, man? What's been going on? What have you been seeing?
Well, as always, I draw a lot of inspiration from things I see, not only in the news, but on some of the things I watch often. As someone who's in our industry, in the real estate industry, I do love HGTV. Watch
Oh,
several shows on there.
guilty pleasure, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotta
And
give it up for HGTV, right? Exactly. Creating do-it-yourselfers, all for years on. Absolutely.
yeah, so one of my favorite shows is the House Hunters, right? And this is a show where they take someone through the process of actually looking at homes, making offers on homes until eventually, most of the time, I say 98% of the time, they end up in escrow on a home that they want, right? So it's really funny when you watch the ones where there's couples
Mm-hmm.
because it always is remarkable to me how they go out to start looking at homes and they have completely two different ideas of what it is that they want. And not only what it is that they want in terms of, the type of house, the style of the house and all that, functionality and whatnot. Because I think those things are kind of normal, right?
Right.
But as far as like the money part, how they can be so different, and it's almost like you're watching, like, did they actually talk about this before they went out and tried to buy a house? Do they
Yeah,
like
that
each
can
other?
definitely be awkward a little bit. Having that conversation
Exactly.
like, what are we gonna spend? What's your budget? What's our budget? Yeah, what's our budget? Right? Like we have to
Right.
set a number.
So in this particular episode, it was a couple and they were about $200,000 difference between their ideal their ideal purchase price.
That's a lot. That's a lot. $200,000. Wow.
Yeah, huge difference. And on top of it, to compound the problem, the wife who wanted to be $200,000 less, so she was looking at a purchase price of like 300,000. She wanted the moon. She wanted everything, you know. And
Not the
so,
stars, Wes. Not the stars, just the moon.
yeah, just the moon,
Oh,
just the
okay.
moon on this one.
I can do the moon.
And as we were talking about the other day, it's kind of funny because you're like, oh, this is reality TV show, man. They're making that stuff up to play up the drama. And I got to tell you, no, they're not. They're really not. I experience this all the time when I deal with first time home buyers, couples typically, because a lot of the times they have not had this conversation, these important conversations before they started the process.
Right.
And so just watching that, it's always a good reminder to people if you're purchasing a home with someone. And by the way, I'm going to throw a caveat in there because I've also helped people purchase a home where their parents were providing the down payment. So the parents' input was also important, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
if you're going to purchase a home with anyone else, any other person that's going to be part of the process
Before
that
you
has,
before you continue, Wes, we gotta give it up. We gotta give it up to the parents out there. The parents out there that are providing financial assistance to kids, like, do you want to adopt me? I'm nice. I can clean up after myself. I know how to cook. Just saying.
I'm with you there. I'm a little too tall to play, Arnold from Different Strokes, but and too good looking to be JJ. But it's funny because, like I said, they don't have those conversations beforehand. And if you're going to purchase a home, any person that has a say in the decision, you guys should sit down before you actually start the process of even speaking to a loan officer to kind of come to a consensus on your ideals about home ownership, where you want to be financially, where you want, like, where your comfort level is for your mortgage payment. How much are we putting down? Where do we want to live? What type of properties? And by the way, it's not going to be perfect because you're in a relationship with someone or you're in the decision-making process with someone other than yourself. You guys do have to come to a consensus, and there is going to be some compromising on both cases, but you do need to have a conversation. And the best thing you can do is to have the conversation before you start out, because it's going to make it a much smoother process, and it's going to make it much easier on the people
Give it up for
involved.
smoother processes. Y'all like smoother processes, right? So smoother processes, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's going to make it much easier on the people, the professionals that you bring into the situation, to help them help you and get you what you want. I mean, I watched the Realtor in this particular episode. Poor guy, man, he's going everywhere from like downtown Atlanta to 20 miles outside the city, and all because he's trying to appease everyone, and they were so far away. So you make it easier on everybody else in the process, including yourselves, if you have that conversation beforehand.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So thank you for that, Wes. Shining some light on the HGTV. You couples out there, you want to make sure you guys are on the same page, especially before Wes and I come in the picture. We
Right.
definitely want to make sure that you guys are on the same page. So thank you for that, Wes. Now I don't know about you, man, but I'm kind of missing open houses a little bit. I gotta
Are
be
you?
honest with you, man. Like I enjoy open houses, and I think it's not necessarily the act of the open house. I think I'm a very social, outgoing person, and
Hmm.
I like people, right? So open houses definitely gives us the opportunity to talk to people. So I think that's what I'm really missing right now is the interaction of people. So
Right.
and that now brings us to our next topic, which is our main event of today, is the state of the open house.
Yeah.
Yes, y'all. The state of open house. Absolutely. So Wes, open houses, man. I mean, obviously I know you partner with realtors and a lot of realtors I'm sure they've always asked you to come to open houses. I know I have asked you to come to open houses.
Yeah.
So what's your take on open houses?
Well, it's kind of funny because, and actually, I think you were the last person I did an open house with before everything got shut down, right?
Yes, it was in March. Absolutely.
Yeah,
March
March of
2020.
last
Yeah.
year. And I remember the whole experience, dabbing the sanitizer on our hands every time somebody walked out and having to have
Yep.
the mask on and everything and sanitizing everything as people walked out the house. And so that's where we kind of came from, right? People were throwing open houses to, get more buyers in and whatnot. And where we are now, there are no open houses, basically, right? It's all by appointment.
Right.
And not only by appointment, but you actually have to show your credentials as a buyer before you get to make the appointment now, right?
Yeah, for the most part, absolutely. I would say 50% of the homes are listed, they ask for pre-approval. Hmm.
Yeah, because I mean, before with an open house, I mean, anybody can come in and just check it out.
Anybody.
Yeah, a lot of times it was the neighbors, right? A lot of times it's the neighbors just trying to see what their neighbors live like and whatnot, and what their house layout looks like and all that. So where we go in the future, because we're kind of at a crossroads. I kind of think that more realtors are going to lean toward doing it by appointments now. You know, I certainly think that there's a portion of realtors who find value in the open house
Mhm.
because this is, an opportunity for them to meet more people and get more leads and whatnot.
Right.
But there's probably a portion of them that are like, this is great. I only have to deal with people who are actually qualified to buy the house in the first place. And I don't have to give up 3 hours on my Saturday and 3 hours on my Sunday. So I think going forward, it's just going to be an excuse not to have them. And I think they've seen that they were able to still have success with selling the house because where the market is right now. I mean, I don't know if you even need to let anybody in right now. So I kind of think that there's certainly going to be a group of realtors that still find value in them, or like yourself, that just like doing them and enjoy the social aspect. But for those who never really got value from them, and as far as they never got leads or anything like that, it was just more so they were hanging out for 3 hours and handing out water and cookies, right? But not necessarily believing that having that open house actually helped them sell the house. And it's not actually going to lead to them selling more houses in the future. I think that they're probably going to stay on the current path. And then also you have to think about or wonder and you can tell me this yourself because you deal with these people. How do the home sellers feel about it now, especially with everything going on? Like, do they want a bunch of strangers trampling through their house in large groups and all that? And do you think they'll want that going forward? Or when will they have that public confidence to be okay with just random strangers showing up in their house in large numbers?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, us agents aren't really good about playing it coy in terms of what we do with our business, in terms of the success, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because what we do is we spend time posting, oh, sold a house in a day, got multiple offers, right? So what you're telling the community, what you're telling your clients is, hey, I don't need to have people randomly come to an open house to sell your house. We
Mm-hmm.
have demonstrated it that we can still sell a house at a high level without an open house.
Right.
So if I'm a home seller, I'm thinking, well, why do you need to hold my house open if my neighbors down the street and this neighbor over here sold their house without even needing to have an open house? They actually sold it in a weekend. So why are you
Right.
telling me, Mr. and Mrs., agent, that we have to do the open house? Right. So I think what's going to be happening now, I don't think you're going to see a lot of open houses coming back because we've demonstrated that we can still get the job done. We can still sell the house for top dollar, right? We can still negotiate on our client's behalf and still sell the house successfully. Now, the thing about open houses, right? As a coach, obviously, I talk to agents on all different levels, whether it's a $1 million agent to a brand new agent that's got license, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the agents in between. Oh my gosh, Qierre, like I can't get any business because I can't do open houses. I can't get any business because I can't do open houses. Like open houses were my jam. That's what I did, right? And I would ask them, okay, so in terms of the transactions you did before, we're able to do open houses, let's say 2019, how many of those transactions came from an open house? A lot of them didn't know.
Right.
So if you're telling me that the reason why you can't sell houses right now is because of the open houses that you can't do, and when I ask you, in terms of your production, how many houses that you sold, you know, came from open houses, and you can't tell me, then for me, that I just think that's a cop out. Because what what really works when it comes to open house is something we do in Keller Williams. It's called a 7 level open house, right? And it's really about the activities that you're doing, before the open house. This is how I look at it. The open house is the icing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is the cake. So calling the neighbors, let them know that you have open house coming up, inviting your neighbors, right? Dropping off flyers or doing just listed postcards to the neighborhood to let people know that a home just came on the market and you have an open house.
Mm-hmm.
Calling your database, letting them know that you have an open house. Emailing your database, texting your database, posting on social media to let people know that you have a new listing, you have an open house, right? So it's all the activities that you're doing, for the open house. That's where the success comes from, right? That's where your next opportunities come from is the build up before the open house. Because when you're sitting there for 3 hours or 4 hours, that's just icing on the cake. That's what it
Right.
is. That's that's passive activity, right? Because you're expecting someone to come in without an agent, right, and be willing to work with you. Now,
Right.
if you're a person that's doing open houses and you're not doing any of that work ahead of time, then it's a waste of time, right? Like it's a waste of time. You shouldn't be doing open house if you don't have the time to call the neighborhood, if you don't
Right.
have the time to actually market to the neighborhood to let people know what you're doing, if you don't have the time to let your database know, if you don't have the time to actually advertise it correctly, you really shouldn't be doing the open house. You're doing your client a disservice, right? Just sitting at the open house. And if you're a new agent out there, and if you're not taking the opportunity to call around the neighborhood and invite the neighbors and let your database know, and you're not doing that, then it's really a waste of time. So for me, the work but before the open house, that's the real work. You sitting at the house for 3 or 4 hours waiting for someone to come in, that's just icing on the cake. And let me tell you, if I had a choice between cake and just icing, I'm gonna choose the cake because the icing is not as good as the cake because it's gonna give me a stomach ache and it's not gonna be a good thing.
Right. It's just a little too much, right?
It's a little too much sweet, man. It's a little too much sweet for me.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a good point because it'd pretty much be like I don't care how successful you are as say like a musician, or as a music artist. When you have a concert, a lot goes into promoting the concert. A
Absolutely.
lot goes into that,
Right.
because if you just showed up at the Shrine or LA Live or whatever, and you didn't do any promotion whatsoever, not even so much as putting it out on Twitter or something like that, you're just gonna be singing to an empty room,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, I agree with you. It is everything else that goes into it beforehand to really make sure that you promote it and you're presenting yourself with opportunities generated through the open house. Because as you said that you guys that realtors really don't need the open house to sell the home. I was thinking about that, and I'd be interested to see if there are any statistics out there regarding that, because I wonder how often does the person who actually buys the home, how often is that person someone who just randomly walked in to an open house?
Less than
You know
three
what I mean?
percent. Less
What
than
is
three.
that number?
Less than 3%. Now it's probably less
Wow,
than
so you do have it.
absolutely.
Wow, you're a
Well, I mean,
genius.
that's part of our presentation when we're doing our listing presentations, right? Well, I this is what I do. I show my clients exactly most likely where their buyers are going to come from,
Uh-huh.
right? And on that list, there is a part that says open house or just driving around, right? And it's like less than 3% because we know the majority of the time people find your house over 90% of the time they find your house online, right? They
Right.
find your house online. That's typically where a buyer's coming from. But like I said, when I am doing my presentation for my clients, I do go down the list, and open house is right there, and it's like less than 3%, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. I would have thought so. And of course, probably there are some realtors who do it because it makes the seller believe that they're working hard for the money, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, you see it, right? Because you visually see, oh, there's signs everywhere.
Right.
Oh, he or she's here. Oh, they have flyers. Oh, they have
Mhm.
bottles of water. Oh, they have a lender, right? Yeah, so you visually see the activity, right? As opposed to, and the
Right.
thing is, what I also do is my clients actually get a report from me every week, to actually let them know, how their advertising is doing, how many views they're getting, right? So they get all of this information on a weekly basis because I don't want them to think like, what's this guy doing for me? You know what I mean? Like, is
Right.
he like not working for me or whatever, right? So my clients get a weekly update, and I also call them too, and I give them a status, let them know what's going on with their house, right? And if you're a realtor out there and you're watching this video, you better be having a notepad and be taking some notes because I'm giving you gold right here. All right, you know what I mean? I
Right.
normally charge for this. I'm a coach, right? So you better be taking some notes.
Yeah, that's a great point. So yeah, you definitely have to, they serve a purpose, but you have to understand the purpose and how to best get the most out of that purpose.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, for sure. All right, perfect. So last week we talked about the city of Anaheim, because
Right.
we're doing cities, in the area. So today we're
Right.
going to talk about Anaheim Hills, right? Now, Anaheim
Yep.
Hills happens to be an area that I know very well. In fact, I've actually have a neighborhood in Anaheim Hills, and I'm actually still the number one listing agent in that neighborhood. It's been 3 years going on now, right? So for me, Anaheim Hills, it's a great area. Obviously, you have about 6 parks within a 3 mile radius, right? You have great schools there. In fact, Canyon High School happens to be a blue ribbon school. It was one of the only schools that actually had a aerospace aeronautical program.
Mhm.
One of the very first schools that actually have that. And obviously, like I said, you have freeway access, you have great schools there. There's so many different parks there. You know what I mean? And the
Yep.
communities. I mean, a lot of great communities in the area. You know, a lot of houses there actually have space. Where you can actually like entertain. And they also have this great exclusive neighborhood called Peralta Hills.
Yeah.
Where they have $1 million homes and so forth, right? So, Adam Hills is, it's a great area. Like I said, I've had the pleasure of serving communities up there. I've helped, several sellers sell their homes. I've helped several buyers buy in Anaheim Hills. So and in Anaheim Hills, like I said, it's definitely, a great place. It has great schools there, great restaurants, great shops, and home appreciation happens to be Anaheim Hills happens to have had the high one of the higher home appreciations in Orange County than other cities in Orange County. I believe Yorba Linda and Anaheim Hills are pretty much neck and neck in terms of average home appreciation as well. So if you're thinking about your ROI, Anaheim Hills is a great place to be.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And speaking of the school, so my oldest actually went to El Rancho. That's the middle school they have there. So I used to have to pick him up every Friday from school. So, and that's a
Yeah,
really good school as well. Excuse me. That's a really good school as well. So yeah, as far as the school district, it's a really good school district. Plus, you have access to some of the other really good high schools like Esperanza and Yorba Linda High School. Um, Man, there used to be a real hot spot, a bar in Anaheim Hills. I don't want to date myself.
oh my gosh.
Oh, I'm sure you heard of the Foxfire back in the day.
Yeah.
I used to hear
A
about that
little
place.
before my time, Wes. A little before my time.
Yeah, it was a little before my time too. Well, I mean, I was around when it was open, but I was too young to be in there. But yeah, and it's a great location as well. Most of the time, you're pretty close to the freeways. You're at least direct access to the 91 usually. So if you want to get in and out of Riverside or get to LA, whatever, great access point and whatnot, and actually really close to Orange as well. So there's some high schools even in Orange that you end up going to as well, like the private school Orange Lutheran. Some of them go to, even Villa Park. So yeah, great city.
Yeah,
On the
absolutely.
hill.
Yes. And if you have any other questions about Anaheim Hills, you want to learn more about Anaheim Hills, definitely feel free to contact us because we definitely know Anaheim Hills very well. So perfect. So thank you guys for that. All right. So one of my favorite segments of the show, you know, is the Wes Files. So let's give it up for the Wes Files.
All right. Hold on, I gotta get my theme song going here.
There you go.
Okay, guys. So this is a segment of the show where I try to take individual experiences that I've had while in escrow on purchases and pass on some knowledge to you that's very useful. And I've learned all of these things by going through them. These are things that are really outside the box that you never really deal with until you deal with them. So this week, I'm dealing with an experience that I had sometime last year where I actually had to fund a loan twice in 30 days.
Wait,
The
wait,
same
wait,
loan.
wait. So you're saying that loan was so nice you had to fund it twice?
Yeah. So for those of you who may not understand, what happens when you fund a loan, that's when the lender concludes their part of the process. They wire funds to all the different parties in the process, and the person purchasing the home officially has a loan with that lender. But there's two parts to actually closing an escrow transaction. The first trigger is to actually fund the loan, but secondly, you have to record with the county, and that means you have to become the owner of record. So in this particular case, my client was buying a home that was in probate. It had to go through the probate court because the husband of the seller had passed away, so it had to go through the probate court. So we went through the entire transaction. We funded the loan only to find out at the 25th hour that for the title company to conclude and record, they needed a document from the probate court. So we funded the loan on a Friday, I believe. By Monday, we found out that the document they needed was not provided and would not be provided by the county for a couple weeks. So in that particular situation, what the lender does is they unfund the loan. They take the money back.
That's gotta be awkward.
Yeah, you try having that conversation with your client. Friday, you're great news, we funded. Monday, terrible news, we've unfunded. They're like, what?
Wait, is that really a thing? So wait a second. So you just gave that money back?
Yep. Yep. The lender
It's
took
not
it
your
back.
house. Psych.
Right. Now, let me just quickly tell you all the issues that could be caused by this simple situation. For starters, let's talk about the rate lock. If your rate was only locked for, X amount of days, let's say 45 days, and the rate lock was going to expire before you managed to get it funded a second time, that means the buyer is now going to have to basically pay for an extension on the rate. Also, that means that the buyer might have to now produce all new documents as far as or updated documents for your paycheck stubs and bank statements and all that, because those things are only good for so long. There could even be a situation where you might have to rerun credit on the buyer. And that's always, a potential Pandora's box, right? So the most important thing though is how did we get here and what's the lesson in this? So two things. Number one, when you're looking for someone, when you have special situations like that, you should try to find someone who is an expert or at least has experience with those items. So specifically, the person that the listing agent in this particular transaction, they had no formal experience with selling homes and probate, you know, and that wasn't a consideration by the seller when they hired this person. You know, it wasn't really even talked about. So I know a lot of people will just push past it and say, yeah, I can figure it out. No big deal. I've never done it before, but I'll figure it out. And hey, that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing if you rely on those with knowledge that can help you through it. So, like, if you have a coach who's been through it before that can coach you through it, that's great. And if you're going to take the time to go get that knowledge from someone, that's great. Make sure you do. But if you're just like, yeah, don't worry, it's going to be like any other transaction, we'll figure it out, we'll make it work, then that's how you end up in those particular situations. Now, the second lesson or moral of the story is, again, we see another potential situation where someone other than the loan officer, who everyone thinks is the only person that can fumble this process, actually fumbled the process, because the title rep also should have known about this beforehand, and they should have informed everyone about this beforehand. Now, how did the title rep get involved in this case? And it was a rare case where the buyer's agent chose the title rep. So how do we get the title rep? Oh, the title rep has a relationship with the buyer's agent. They don't have specific knowledge or experience with this particular situation, but they use them because they know them and, you know, they're familiar with them. So everyone involved in a transaction has the ability to put the transaction at risk.
Absolutely.
You know, everyone involved. And that's why I always say it's so important to make sure that you're choosing qualified people. And if you're talking about a specific situation like this, where you're dealing with someone who's going through the probate courts and through a probate process, that you're using knowledgeable people that are experienced with those things. So long story short, we got the document we needed to get, everything got figured out, and we funded the loan the second time. And this time we recorded. About 3 weeks later, we were able to do all that without having any harm come to the buyer, whatever, but it could have. And that's why you want to have the foresight to think about those things. So that is this week's Wes Files.
Well, thank you, Wes. Thank you for sharing. It's always good. It's always nice when you have a happy ending, right? It's always nice when you have a happy ending.
It is nice to have a happy ending. It's terrible if you don't have one, but yes, it's always nice to have one.
Yeah. Speaking of happy ending, I got to talk about it. Disneyland, the happiest place on earth, Wes. I know you said they're doing something different, something about a Disney lottery. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, and this will kind of cover, you know, weekend activity, what you can do, what's available out there for you. So Disneyland is reopening partially. It's going to be like at 25% capacity.
Disneyland's opening. We got to get there. We got to go.
Yeah, starting April 30th. So right now they're having a ticket lottery.
Ticket lottery.
And those of you who like your Jordans, you know what this is like when the new pair of Jordans drops on Foot Locker or something like that, or Nike. You go onto the website and you hit refresh like you have nothing else to do, over and over and over and over again until you finally get through. So my wife tried to do that yesterday all day. And because they're only opening at 25% capacity initially, there's not a lot of availability there. I mean, everybody in Southern California has been waiting, you know, patiently for the amusement parks to open up again, especially Disneyland. So as soon as that got out there, everybody's on it. So I can give you a shortcut though, because guess who has tickets to Disneyland and who will be going twice in the next month?
Your wife got through. What? That's amazing.
No, she didn't. She hacked the system. Let me give you the hack though. To be useful to you. If you have a AAA membership, you can go directly to AAA and buy them. Now, here's the thing though. You do have to buy tickets for 2 days. and you have to use those tickets within 13 days of each other. So within 2 weeks.
Okay, that wouldn't be fair. That wouldn't be bad for my family. I mean, we are a Disney family, so.
Yeah. So, and then I believe they're planning to reopen in full capacity, but of course, still having the mask mandate and everything by June 15th.
Oh, okay.
And then also Knott's Berry Farm will be reopening May 21st. And of course, the Orange County Fair, something we all love to do and participate in.
Love those Orange County Fair. Give it up for Orange County Fair. It's returning. I've been craving my Australian battered potatoes, like and those big old turkey legs. Oh, amazing.
I was going to say you were craving anything fried because if it's not nailed down, they're frying it there. They're deep frying it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so they'll be open for business July 16th through August 15th. I've not had a chance to take a look to see if they're doing shows or concerts this year. That's something I do love doing there, especially the tribute bands.
Oh yeah,
those are really fun.
Got to give it up for the tribute bands. Come on. Absolutely. Did you ever get to listen to Aeromyth?
I have not heard Aeromyth.
Okay, Aeromyth, amazing. Obviously, Aeromyth, right? Yeah. So you gotta listen to them. If you haven't gone to a show with Aeromyth, definitely go to it. Rock it. Great show.
Yeah, but I did get to see I got to see a Journey tribute band there before. I forgot the name of them for some reason though. I also got to see like a Prince / Morris Day tribute band, Prince and the Revolution, and I actually got to see Bob Dylan.
Oh, nice.
Legend himself, yeah. Got to see Bob Dylan play there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Well, thank you for that weekend update for the weekend activity. So thank you for that. Absolutely, definitely looking forward to things opening up and getting back to reality. Seeing people and hopefully be able to see their faces, maybe, possibly, right? Maybe you pull your mask down, smile a little bit. Whatever you want to do. So, absolutely. And I know there's one other thing that you wanted to share about this weekend that's happening for all of us Kobe Bryant fans. Some bigs happen this weekend, so I'll let you do the honors.
Well, yeah, not this weekend, but I don't think it's this weekend, but I'll have to look actually. But yeah, just a few things in the news. So there's going to be, they have the Basketball Hall of Fame induction every year. So they already announced the people who are being inducted. So we got from, NBA players you'd recognize. We have Kobe Bryant, of course, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett. Yeah, and Coach Rudy Tomjanovich, which also he did play in the NBA as well. But one of the cool parts about this, though, is that the GOAT is going to be introducing the baby GOAT.
And for all of you guys that don't know who the GOAT is that Wes is referencing, he's referencing MJ, Michael Jordan, number 23.
Yeah, so he'll be inducting Kobe Bryant, which would be really cool. Looking forward to it because I did get to see him speak at the memorial for Kobe Bryant and the passengers on that helicopter. And it was a rare moment where you got to see Michael Jordan beneath the facade, beneath the layers. Like you weren't dealing with Air Jordan, you were dealing with Michael Jeffrey Jordan. So you got to see how Kobe impacted him and, what kind of real personal relationship. And it's a rare moment where you got to see Michael Jordan like that. So I look forward to seeing what he has to say when he inducts Kobe into the Hall of Fame. Yesterday we had the anniversary with National Jackie Robinson Day in the MLB. Yeah, and that's one of the cool things they do. Everybody wears his jersey. And of course, we all know the significance of him, not only as a player, but as a person, to break the color barrier, with the Brooklyn Dodgers. So that's pretty cool to see everybody wear his number. And it's pretty cool that every team has retired his number as well. I don't know if anybody else in any other sport has had that impact, for the sport. So that's pretty cool. And then lastly, in the news.
Uh-oh.
I myself am a huge Prince fan, and pretty cool. He's dropping another album. It's available now for pre-order. It's called Welcome to America.
Yeah, the print, the purple one. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's funny. I mean, you got to be a pretty bad dude to own a color. Like he owns the color purple. you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. And then Wes, you told me something. Would you say about his albums? Like, would you say?
So he has this thing called the vault. It's been like this mythological thing that you've heard about for years and years and years while he was alive. This vault that has like all of this music available in there. So I was watching. They did a section on him on 60 Minutes. I think it was just last weekend. So they were actually at Paisley Park, which is the studio that Prince owned. So they actually were there and they got to go into the vault, right? Now, cameras were not allowed in the vault, but unlike Al Capone's vault, there was stuff in there and a lot of it. A lot of it. Yeah. So they basically said he has enough music in the vault to put out an album every year for the next century.
Wow.
Which is remarkable.
Jeez.
That's crazy, but I'm not surprised though.
Yeah.
I'm really not surprised because when you hear people who were part of his bands and who played with him and all that, they said he had this, this motor that just never stopped going. If he got the inspiration to make a song at 3:00 in the morning, he would get up and just go do it. And not only would he go do it, he would do it till he got it right and exactly where he, wanted it. So, right. And I've heard a ton of cool stories about that, about how some of the favorites that we actually love were written and created and all random hours and random times and all that. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. So I look forward to the next one. But by the way, he has had new music come out before this since his death, which was, I believe 5 years ago. But everything he's put out before this, they were basically remastered tracks from previous albums with some unreleased tracks that were also created during the same time that album was created. So like there's a Purple Rain, there's a Purple Rain Super Edition. There's a 1999 Super Edition. This last year, there was a Sign of the Time Super Edition. And so this time, this is actually a new album. So this is going to be pretty cool. I already got mine. I already paid for it, pre-ordered. Should be here by July. And yeah, looking forward to it.
I love it. I love it. Give it up for the purple one.
That's right.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing all the great things that are happening. I hope you guys got some great value out of this. Obviously this is episode 2. We're super excited about doing this podcast, and obviously one of our missions when we do this podcast is really about educating, and providing value, and also making you laugh, right? Because there's so much stuff going on in this world. So if you can take the time to listen to our podcast and it brings a smile to your face, then we know we're doing something right. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you have a great weekend. And Wes, is there anything you want to say before we close out?
Yeah, I really appreciate all of those who are following us and listening. And yeah, this is just really fun. And it's also something that I think is natural to both of us, which is really, trying to educate and coach people and provide good information for people and bringing them along. So I'm excited to see where we go, and we're only going to get better and better and get more and more polished. So stay tuned because it's going to be a lot of good stuff.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And as we always say, until the next episode.